signs do not vote. That's right, signs do not vote. That is an old phrase that my former boss, Representative George Dunbar, was famous for saying, and what it means is you can have all the campaign signs in the world, but if those campaign signs aren't making it, those people with those signs are not making it to the voting booth, then none of it matters. And that's what you hear from Donald Trump fans all the time is, oh, look how many signs there are! There are so many signs everywhere! Donald can't lose! How can you lose when you have so many signs? Well, most of the people you hear saying that live in Westmoreland County or Fayette County or Somerset County, somewhere outside of the metropolitan area of Allegheny County. And I don't know that Westmoreland County is representative of the nation at large. Signs don't vote, but everybody keeps going back to these signs. They talk about the signs, and they talk about the big attendance at the rallies. And as I've said before, it's really easy and really exciting to go to a rally and experience all of the hoopla and the excitement and the speeches and the fanfare. But it's quite another to get yourself out of your routine on a Tuesday and make it down to the voting booth, stand in line, and go vote. But this election may be an anomaly. Usually I don't put any stock in campaign attendance or signs, and I definitely don't put any stock in signs. Anybody can just go through, and I know I've done it. You just go stick signs out wherever you can. You ask people, hey, can I put a sign in your yard? And they say, whatever, I don't care. A lot of people don't care, and it's funny. You'll find some people where they will have signs from different parties in their yard at the same time because they have a good location and they just really don't care. Anybody can put a sign up as long as they take it down on election day. But Tim Kaine threw a rally in Florida and 30 people showed up. Just 30. There are more people listening to this program now, an online radio station, then there's more people willing to tune into this than show up to a Tim Kaine rally when he's running for president or vice president of the United States. He's on the ticket. That's very dismal. That's really, really bad. I am Brian Crawford. You are listening to the River's Edge Radio Network. I am Pittsburgh's Moral Compass, here to steer you in the right direction. Kathleen Kane is spending the next 10 to 23 months in prison on charges of perjury and abuse of her office. Is the punishment too harsh, or does it not go far enough? That's the question I have for you here at 412-407-2PGH. That's 412-407-2PGH. Or you can hit me up on Twitter at RiverTalkPGH. You can listen to us live if you're not watching on YouTube at riversedgepgh.com. riversedgepgh.com is powered by NJL WebTech. Practical and affordable and honest. Go to njlwebtech.com for all of your web servicing needs. Sorry we're not on Facebook Live if you're watching after the fact. I don't know why. Facebook decided it does not work anymore. It says that we are unable to do a Facebook Live video at this time. I have no idea what the hell that means. It says something went wrong. You were not able to create a Facebook Live video at this time. I don't know what that means. Facebook is the worst run organization ever. I use it because it brings in the numbers. I'll get like 12 people watching today versus like over 100 on a Facebook Live because it does a good job of getting the message out there to people. But here I am, riversedgepgh.com. We have a good show today, though. We're going to talk to Patrick Nightingale of Pittsburgh Normal. I'm going to talk to him later on in the program. Pennsylvania has now put out their regulations for medical marijuana in the state. was recently put into law, and it's going to be accessible. So we're going to talk to him about those regulations and where the overall legalization movement will be going, what direction it's heading here in the Commonwealth. Don't forget, if you like the political talk, which I, for one, cannot wait to get away from, but it's what's in the news right now, but you can come out to Cousins on election night. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have an all-star cast. We just announced that Liz Victory will be on the cast. She is a great Pittsburgh artist and musician in the Pittsburgh area. She's also an activist with the Occupy Wall Street movement. She has a 10-year journalism background and an overall interesting person. She's associated with the Green Party, so we're looking forward to having her on. Stay tuned to riversedgepgh.com, to our Facebook page, and everything else for updates for election night coverage at Cousins as we reveal the rest of the panel throughout the coming days. I'm really looking forward to seeing where things go with the legalization of marijuana in Pennsylvania. I just don't understand really the arguments behind it, and they are out there, and it's very odd because in Pennsylvania, liquor reform has been a long-time issue of the Republican Party in the Commonwealth. It's the Republican Party that's actually the progressive party when it comes to liquor reform. It's the Democrats, due to their association with the unions, that has been very resistant to change. But on the medical marijuana issue and the recreational marijuana issue, it's been the Republicans that have been the ones living in the past, the ones who are unwilling to progress and move forward on this issue. So it's odd because you've got two parties on such polar opposite sides of this issue, but that's the way it is. Amanda Narcisi won't be in today, but that's okay. I've got a list of interesting events that you might want to check out. So I'll give you some things that I am interested in that maybe you might want to check out for yourself. And we're going to talk about a new Halloween scare that is hitting the nation. I'll give you a take from an ultra-conservative perspective. So we've got all of that and more coming up here on the River's Edge. But we're going to take a break, and we're going to play some local music right here at riversedgepgh.com.
Would you be interested in developing conscious choice? Would you be interested in creating reactions rather than waiting for one to come? Would you be interested in combining serendipity and synchronicity? Would you be interested in making 1 + 1 = 3? Would you be interested in finding out about full impact mindfulness? If so, I challenge you to join myself, Jim Ellermeyer, a cognitive behavioral health therapist, every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the River's Edge, where we will challenge you to allow us to help you help yourself to fully participate in your life. Let the adventure begin.
All right, I can't get past this. I'm sorry, I know I mentioned it already, but get your fucking system working, Facebook. And when I tried to Google what the problem is with the Facebook live feed, the response was, oh, your internet might not be good enough. Well, obviously it's good enough to broadcast on fucking YouTube Live. Facebook is such a piece of shit. Such a piece of shit. Like, nothing works. All of the apps on the Facebook, on the phone for Facebook, none of them fucking work. Not a single goddamn one. The regular Facebook app, broken. The Facebook Pages app, broken. Facebook Messenger, it never works. The only thing that works is the fucking ads app. You need to think with Zuckerberg, with all of his cash and all of the techies working for him, he could get at least something on his damn webpage to work. So here I am on YouTube, where nobody's used to going to seeing the River's Edge live, so nobody's watching. I'm talking to the wind. So everyone's listening. I see people are listening online. Thanks for listening at riversedgepgh.com. This is probably the time that most people are listening because they can't access the show on Facebook. bullshit. So there are some events going on this weekend. As I mentioned before, Amanda Narcisi, she's stuck at work, slaving away, so I have a few things that are going on. Today, our friends from PodCamp are having an evening with PodCamp. That's going to be 6:30 p.m. at Work Hard Pittsburgh in Allentown, and it is evening with PodCamp food. So they're talking about food. Always really good programs from PodCamp. They have really interesting educational programs and also great discussion panels. I was on a discussion panel once with them. It was the State of Podcasting panel. Some really good stuff with that. Today at 8 p.m., the Triple D show. It's a performance going on at the Funhouse at Mr. Small's. Aggravated Assault, which is going to be tomorrow at Apis Meadery at 8 p.m., and this one says, every month we invite comics to bring their raunchiest-minded behavior to the aggravated assault stage. Here's the catch. The crowd is encouraged to talk back. The crowded staff and any comic in attendance on or off the show are more than welcome to voice their distaste, make fun, ruin jokes, or simply just boo. This is the only show in Pittsburgh where heckling is encouraged. So that is tonight, 8 p.m. to 10:30. I'm sorry, it's tomorrow, 8 p.m. to 10:30 at Apis Meadery and Winery. And Apis is a good place. I always enjoyed their meads. Lots of good stuff there. Halloween night, I will be reading a weird monster story. And that is going to be at the Funhouse at Mr. Small's for the Acoustic Cafe. So I invite you out for that. I think I'm going to do the Wallet Sucker story, but I'm going to modify it, and we're going to do it in front of a crowd, so I think that will be fun. I may get some creepy music to play behind me, but there's lots of Halloween stuff going on right now. All the bars here in Millvale, they're all having Halloween parties, so lots of good stuff. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here that catches my interest. Oh, okay, that's right. There's a bar jitsu event, which is like a beer pong event that our buddy puts together, and that's going to be 8:30 p.m. at the Tilted Kilt on Saturday, so check that out as well. Oh, and the Knox Boys are going to be performing at the Funhouse 9 p.m. on Saturday, so lots of good stuff going on. If I'm missing something, I'm sorry. We're just kind of going with the flow here today. My time, of course, was fighting Facebook minutes before the show. Our mayor, Bill Peduto, and Rich Fitzgerald, our Allegheny County executive, they are trying to intervene on the union strike with the Pittsburgh Symphony. And according to the Post-Gazette, it says politics can divide people more than unify them, but in the case of the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra ongoing labor dispute, the city's top elected officials hope to bridge the gap. Now, that's kind of a weird opening to this article, because they're talking about Bill Peduto and Rich Fitzgerald, who are on the same side more often than not, so I don't understand where this divide quote comes from, or this divide statement comes from. But it says that the two will meet the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra management and musicians this week in an effort to mediate the bruising labor dispute at Heinz Hall. Mayor Bill Peduto is quoted as saying, right now it's how do we get everyone back? And sometimes you need to have somebody who listens to each side and communicates. So hopefully they're able to get something accomplished. It's tragic what's going on with this situation. But one thing that's kind of bothered me is the reaction to the strike in the media, especially on talk radio. As you know, the teachers union, the faculty union, is striking against the Pennsylvania state system of higher education at the same time as this strike dealing with the symphony. And the media seems to be so anti-union. And I want to know why. What is this movement? What is this anti-union movement? And I find it really odd that it's especially prevalent in talk radio. There's a very big anti-union movement among talk radio hosts here in the city. And it's kind of confusing because a lot of these people, a lot of these talk radio hosts, they're in a union. I know many Clear Channel hosts, for example, are in the Screen Actors Guild union. There are other unions as well. Many of these people are in a union. So they're coming out against the union, but they collectively bargain their own salaries. So I just don't understand the argument. I can understand skepticism. I can understand concern, especially when the symphony is already struggling for money, especially when, looking at the college situation where tuition is on the rise, where the money is not coming down from the federal government as it did during the Rendell years. But at the same time, these people have grievances, they have bills to pay. We're in a weird place where people don't want to pay musicians for shows and things like that, and I guess we're in a situation where money is tighter, but I can understand if you live in this situation, if you are dealing with this and it's your pay that's affected, I can understand why you would want to strike, why you would want this to be resolved, and why you don't want to constantly take it on the chin. And that's what's been going on in recent years. Unions in many cases have taken it on the chin. They've made concessions to try to help companies move forward and things like that, but you just can't do that forever. But I don't know why. I'm really curious as to why there's this media bias against the unions. So if you have a thought, feel free to share at River Talk PGH. Getting back to Kathleen Kane, though, I am glad to see that she's going to jail. I mean, she was the top prosecutor in the state, and it was just one corruption issue after another. It's been national news. It's funny because it's not the news. I feel like it hasn't been as big of a story locally as it should have been, but it's being covered in the New York Times and everywhere else. It's a big deal. It really is. And I think you need to make an example of her. I mean, Pennsylvania, it's been such a corrupt Commonwealth between the Supreme Court justice situation where you have these Supreme Court justices engaging in these really inappropriate and unprofessional email scandals. You've got an attorney general who leaks grand jury information. You've got pay-to-play situations in the Commonwealth. You've got a situation where we are raising taxes, but legislators are unwilling to take any concessions themselves. So it's time that we take a stand. And yes, there are other people, and the argument always comes out, well, so-and-so didn't get it this tough. Well, you have to start somewhere, right? Why not start here? Why not start here? Make an example of Kathleen Kane and put a line in the sand that we are not going to stand for corruption here in the Commonwealth. As you know, we will, because everyone will go back to football or go back to whatever other form of entertainment that they want to get back to. And they're going to forget about this, and Kathleen Kane will just be another politician that will be buried in the history book, if it even makes it there, and the corruption parade will continue to march through Harrisburg. It's really pretty sad. It's sad what this Commonwealth is and where we live. It's sad that we have people who, there's a house barber. There's a barber, a guy who gets paid just to cut the hair of House members. And I'm sure he's getting a pension. There's just so much waste. And no one's willing to cut back on per diems or cut back on state vehicles or anything else. And yeah, I know it's not the biggest expense we have in this Commonwealth, but you got to lead by example. You can't expect anyone else to pay up and pay more when you're unwilling to make any concessions on your own. I was listening to the Toomey-McGinty debate, and I haven't really talked much about this race, but if you know me outside of here, I'll just put it out there. I think Pat Toomey killed himself when he came out against the Second Amendment in a bill in Harrisburg. And I know some of you may be bleeding hearts and you may want more gun legislation or gun restrictions, but this is Pennsylvania. This is Pennsylvania. Remember that. Even the Democrats are very pro-Second Amendment here in Pennsylvania. So clearly you're alienating the Republicans, but you're also alienating the Democrats here when you come out against the Second Amendment. And I was listening to the debate, and to be honest, I was leaning towards Toomey in this election only because of some of the opportunities that McGinty has given herself through her work in our Commonwealth, and I honestly just didn't trust her. So, I was leaning towards Toomey, but I was listening to this debate, and again, I wasn't hard for Toomey. I just was leaning his way, and it came to education, and they're talking about the education issue. And Toomey pretty much gave the generic Republican answer. I paid my way through school. You should pay your way through school. We just need to encourage kids to pay their way for school and make sure the jobs are there when they get out. What a bullshit answer. What a bullshit backwards answer that doesn't appreciate or recognize the real challenges that students face going into school in today's climate. If I'm going to take one class at a state institution like CalU or IUP or somewhere else, it will cost me, and it has cost me. I've done this. I've paid this. It cost me over $1,200 for just one class at a taxpayer-funded institution. So please tell me how someone fresh out of high school is going to be able to put together $1,200 for tuition that doesn't include travel expenses, that doesn't include living expenses. $1,200 for one class on a minimum wage salary. The numbers just don't add up, kids. They do not add up. And I was really disappointed to hear Senator Toomey's response to the education issue. It's a big issue. It's an important issue. And I can understand the people who say that we can't just make it free, that it's impossible to just make it free. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think it probably is unreasonable at this stage to make it free. Maybe sometime in the future. I don't know. But at this stage, you're not going to get the votes to make it free. Let's just be honest there. You're not going to get the votes to make it free. You're not going to be able to push through free education in today's climate in the United States of America. It's just not that progressive of a country yet. And I don't know if it'll ever be that progressive. I don't think it's unreasonable to expect someone to pay something. But in today's age where the price of tuition has skyrocketed, where the price of books are astronomical, at the same time where wages have not really gone up at any significant level, the gap has grown. And it's just irresponsible and really unacceptable to just say that you should just pay your way. Just pay your way. I paid my way. Well, to me, when you went to school, the price of education, you weren't paying $1,200 for one class. So to say that you're just going to pay your way through, it's just very close-minded, and it's really, you're not really grasping the challenges that it is to go to college in today's world. In Pennsylvania, it costs almost the same amount of money to go to a private school as it does a public school in this Commonwealth. Other states have it better, but other states also do not have the most corrupt state legislature in the country. And we're also the largest full-time legislature in the country, so I wonder if that's a coincidence. I would say probably not. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we've got an interesting story that I'm going to share with you about. Well, we'll get into it. I don't want to lead into it, but we're going to do a little campaign speech, and that's coming up here at riversedgepgh.com.
Hi, I'm Mike Storer, host of the Awesome Cast, which you can hear right here on River's Edge Radio. We're talking tech, getting geeky every week with people from
Ladies and
Pittsburgh
gentlemen,
in
I would
the
like
industry.
to announce
Go
to
check
you
us out,
the President of the United States,
right
Mr.
here on
Conservative
River's Edge Radio,
Caricature.
Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. after Funny Money.
Hello, my fellow Americans. I am speaking to you today to talk about our kids and the need to protect our children. There are a certain percentage of our children, ladies and gentlemen, who will be mutilated and converted this Halloween. They will be mutilated into homosexuals by the end of the year if we do not take action. There are reports out by the CDC that our children's candy this year on Halloween in many gay homes across America, their candy will be laced with a homosexual-inducing drug. I propose, as the law and order candidate, that we round up these hoodlums and we put them into gay-gated communities to prevent the spread of fabulous here in the United States. I am the only president who would be willing to make such a stand. I am the only president who has the guts, the fortitude to make such a claim and make such a promise to you, the American people. As you know, I am up for re-election, and I am counting on your vote to make sure that we can continue to protect our children going forward in the future. We're also going to be taking a stance on Christmas elves. There is some suspicion of the sexuality of these toy-making critters, and the way we're going to handle that is we're going to put a large wall along our northern border to keep them from illegally entering the country. Halloween candy is turning our children gay, and we definitely need to take a hard stand against this situation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This comes from a funny article. It's a satirical article that I found from liberaldarkness.com, and it says, Halloween, commonly known as the homosexual community as Gay Christmas, is one of the most dangerous days of the year for heterosexual men, with men showing off their bodies with hunky cop and Egyptian pharaoh outfits. Gays cannot help themselves but salivate and have the time of their lives as they watch from afar, waiting to unload their tainted candies upon unsuspecting dads and frat bros and children out in the night. And it's a funny article, and it's a sad article, because you know there are people out there who vote to actually think this way. So it's funny, but it's kind of sad at the same time. I'm going to try to get Patrick Nightingale on the phone. He is from Pittsburgh Normal. We're going to talk about what regulations the Commonwealth has put down now that we finally have medical marijuana here in Pennsylvania. And we're going to talk to him about the impact that these changes will have on the movement to legalize marijuana recreationally as well. So that's up next. We're going to take another quick break because I don't have a producer here, so I got to have a minute to give him a call. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back with him, and then we're just going to continue throughout the rest of the show, and we'll end with our holiday of the day. So Patrick Nightingale up next here on the River's Edge.
They did leech people up until, like 1910 or so, I think.
How do you know that? Like till 1910 or so.
Well, it's for reading.
I used to get girls till
medical
1910 or so. I used to have girls give me booty calls till 1910 or so.
Hey, Money Bags, tune into Funny Money at 7 a.m. Thursdays.
Did you hear Tom? He said 7 a.m. Tune in.
Okay, welcome back to the River's Edge Radio Network. I am Brian Crawford here at the beautiful Millville Studios, and some of the rules that the state has put out for medical marijuana dispensaries. One, all employees must be 18 years of age or older. Patients may not self-administer marijuana treatments on site, and dispensaries cannot offer coupons or discounts for marijuana. One of the rules that they put in, which I think are is pretty funny, is these dispensaries have to be so many feet away from a school. They can't be near a school. And I always thought this was funny because there was a big issue back in North Huntington, back where I grew up. And a brewery wanted to open up near a school. And there was there was all this outrage and anger. Oh my God, the children! Oh, the poor children. How are they going to survive this? And I always thought that was hilarious because it's a brewery. It's not like it's like a bar or there's hookers hanging out of the windows or whatever. And it's kind of the same thing with this marijuana dispensary. It's just odd. People were just so small-minded and afraid and terrified, and they just can't seem to get past that. If you're waiting for Patrick Nightingale, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. He's a lawyer. I don't know if you know that. Not only is he a very cool activist for Pittsburgh Normal, but he's also a lawyer. He's an attorney, and he is currently in court. He was supposed to be out and done in time for today's program, but unfortunately he's a busy, important guy, and he'll be back on Friday's show, which is the same time, 10 to 11 a.m. here at riversedgepgh.com, and it's just the ongoing avalanche which has been pouring down or coming down hard on today's show, but we'll manage to make it through. We got a few more minutes to go, so if you can hang with me, I appreciate your patience. I apologize. He'll be back. As I said, he'll be here on Friday. He said Friday is wide open, so he will be here for Friday as well. Today's holiday of the day is kind of weird. It was today's actually, believe it or not, National Pumpkin Day. Pumpkins have their own day here in Pennsylvania. And since we're talking about weed and marijuana, the pumpkin spice seems to be... they always say that weed is not addicting, and that's what the statistics show. If you look at an NFL player, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. They seem to be pretty addicted themselves. But one thing that I think we can all agree is that the freaking pumpkin spice situation, that is a true crazy addiction. And we're kind of nearing the end of fall. I guess pumpkin will go on until Thanksgiving, but the bulk of the pumpkin craze is ending. And though I'll be sad to see Oktoberfest go, I will be delighted to see the pumpkin craze off into the sunset. And we're going to bring back some winter beers. Winter beers are coming back, and I actually do like winter beers. And people like to lump all seasonal beers together, and I think that's really short-sighted. seasonal beers are so different. A summer shandy, for example, is such a completely different flavor than a heavy winter ale or winter drink. And one thing I like about the winter beers is they're very powerful, very flavorful. They pack a punch, and they're very high and heavy in alcohol content. But winter beers are interesting, and it makes sense that seasonal beers are different. And it really kind of bothers me when people try to lump them all together, because I wouldn't drink a winter seasonal beer in the summertime. Winter beers are heavier, and they're meant to kind of have some substance to them. And though some beers are not seasonal, certain beers like porters and certain stouts, especially like an oatmeal stout, there's no way I would drink an oatmeal stout in the summer. But in the wintertime, an oatmeal stout is delightful. And likewise, I don't think I would really want to drink a shandy in the wintertime. It's a weird kind of mix, because a shandy's more light, it's more fruity, and it's fun, but it's very summery. But I'm excited about the beers coming out, and I'm excited to talk to Patrick Nightingale tomorrow, and that's going to be 10 to 11 here at riversedgepgh.com. What's everyone doing for Halloween? Halloween, it seems to be, it's turning into an adult holiday yet again. And I mentioned that I will be out at the Acoustic Cafe, and I'm excited because for the first time in many years, I will be off for Halloween. I know they're going to be doing a thing here in Millville for the kids at the different businesses, so you can come check that out. I won't be participating, though, because I will be preparing for my short story at the open mic at Hambones, and I feel like that will be a fun night. I know you've got a group of interesting people, a group of creative people that are going to be in one place, and I'm interested to see what comes out of this open mic. But there's all sorts of good things going on. There's already been some Halloween parties out there. I know the YJJs just had one, and I'm sure that was crazy, just given the group and given the fun that they have. But I think this open mic will be pretty cool. If you've never checked out the Acoustic Cafe at the Funhouse, I would highly recommend checking it out. I would highly recommend coming out this Monday to see me. It'll be my first time performing at an open mic, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe I'll have a little medical marijuana on my way in, just to smooth everything out. No, that's a joke. I actually don't really smoke. I'm a big proponent of legalization, but I don't know. It just doesn't really do anything for me. It's not my cup of tea. I'm a drinker. I like to smoke cigars, but I do like a big cigar. Like, to me, there's nothing better than a big fat cigar. And the reason why is I have a crazy busy life. I know many of you probably do as well. And no sitting on your couch, for those of you who are TV watchers and hanging out at the home, that does not constitute a busy life. But I have a busy life. Some of you have a busy life. And when you're busy and you're running nonstop, it's very challenging and very, very taxing. And as somebody who works a full-time job and runs a business on the side, I'm constantly in motion, constantly moving. And I'm so busy that I forget entire conversations and meetings that I've had with people. I know I was talking to someone the one day, and I was asking them if they were ever at a certain brewery, and they said, well, yeah, I was at this brewery with you. But I completely forgot. I had no clue that I went to this brewery with this person, because I forget things because I'm just running around nonstop. Have you experienced that? I know I have. So, anyways, I need a break sometimes. And the nice thing about a cigar is a big cigar, not like a small little cigarette-looking cigar, but I'm talking like a big-ass $10 to $15 cigar that lasts you a good hour. The flavor's great. I don't like to get any artificial flavors. I don't like sugary cigars. When I first started, I liked the Cuba Cuba, which is from the brand. It's a brand of acid cigars. And I used to be a big fan of Cuba Cubas, but they're very sugary. And as I've gotten older, my tastes have changed. I don't like sugary things. I like just flat, plain, beautiful flavors. I just like the tobacco flavor of a good cigar. So I've changed my taste, but I still like that long hour cigar. And the reason why is when you're super busy, you're running around like crazy. An hour cigar forces you to take a minute and chill. Just take a minute and relax. Take a minute and just reflect, or not even reflect, just zone out. But you can't go anywhere, especially in today's world. You can't go inside and smoke like you used to. So you're outside, or you're at a cigar bar, a place that's set aside specifically for cigars, and you're taking an hour of your life and you're just doing nothing. And when you're running around like crazy and you never have a minute to yourself, or a minute to think, or a minute to not think, a minute just to chill, an hour is like an eternity. And it's a time that I treasure deeply. That's it for me. We're out of time. But I want to remind you to tune in tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. We have a new Funny Money. And after that, we have a new Awesome Cast. Good stuff. If you didn't watch the show live already at awesomecast.net, it'll be airing Thursday morning, 8 a.m., right after Funny Money here at riversedgepgh.com. Don't forget to tune in Friday, 10 a.m., right here. We're going to have Patrick Nightingale back. We're going to bring him back. He's been on the show before, so I know he'll be happy to be back. Sorry we couldn't bring him to you today, but he'll be back Friday, 10 a.m. I'm Brian Crawford. Don't forget, right after this, we have the best in Pittsburgh local music at riversedgepgh.com.